And, due to its popularity and just the hilarious and unnecessary controversies that have surrounded it, I definitely knew about its content, due to its placement in the pop culture zeitgeist for over 50 years. Hell, it's been constantly referenced in other books and comics and graphic novels and TV shows and in films, music, for decades. It was even referenced in Deadpool.
Oh, there's the money shot, baby. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
We're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the next part of my show today, and that is my review for Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret. And you're probably asking, Chris, why are you reviewing this movie? It came out months ago. Well, I've been trying to get to my backlog of movies and TV shows, stuff that I missed earlier in the year, chat. I'm very busy. I'm working on a ton of stuff, but recently, I finally caught up, watched The Holdovers, and I absolutely love that movie. And I've been getting a lot of suggestions from you guys for some other films that are currently out right now or about to be out, but certainly were out earlier in the year. And, I wanted to take the time to review some of these films because a lot of these films have been praised by both audiences and critics. And for this particular movie, chat, this is based on the 1970 novel of the same name by Judy Blume. And focuses on 11-year-old Margaret, who navigates new friends, feelings, and problems when her family moves from New York City to the suburbs, chat, the horrible suburbs of New Jersey. Now, first of all, I have to admit this. I'm ashamed to say that I've never read the original novel. Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret. But I was familiar with the book and Judy Blume herself. The novel has been around for half a century at this point, over half a century. And, due to its popularity and just the hilarious and unnecessary controversies that have surrounded it, I definitely knew about its content, due to its placement in the pop culture zeitgeist for over 50 years. Hell, it's been constantly referenced in other books and comics and graphic novels and TV shows and in films, music, for decades. It was even referenced in Deadpool.
Oh, there's the money shot, baby. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
But I have to admit, I regret not reading it when I was younger, and maybe I'll put it on my read list after getting through just my tower of backlog books, some of which you've sent me, which I really appreciate, chat, so thank you. However, I am happy to say that I've finally seen the film Adaptation that was released earlier this year. And I can also happily report this is a well-written and well-directed coming-of-age story with several standout performances. I recently just watched The Holdovers as well, and it's quite the coincidence that both these projects take place in the year 1970. It's The Holdovers, it's the winter of 1970. The majority of this movie, for the most part, it's the spring and the summer and fall of 1970. And listen, much like The Holdovers, this film does an excellent job of recreating the 1970s, that aesthetic, that look, specifically that slice of 1970s American suburbia. From the aesthetic, as I said, to the clothes, the production design, the filmmakers and director Kelly Freeman Craig, who's worked on several other projects before this, including Edge of 17, also Bumblebee, are all wonderfully realized. It's just a nice nostalgic slice of 70s suburban Americana, as I said. Since the material itself is already so good, so much of the cast I feel like just shines just totally shines in this movie. You know, there are several actors you'll instantly recognize, like, you know, Rachel McAdams and Benny Safdie and Kathy Bates. But you know, I first want to praise Abby Ryder Forston, which I hope I'm saying her name correctly. But Abby Ryder Forston, who plays the titular Margaret, the one who's talking to God. You know, so much of the movie rests on her shoulders, and she does a terrific job. Viewers might know her best for playing the young daughter of Ant-Man in the first two Marvel Ant-Man movies. She plays Cassie in those films. And you listen, she was already so cute and so charming, cute as a button in those movies. Remember that one scene when you're instantly charmed by her when you first saw her? When I think, like, Scott, he gets out of jail, he's going to her birthday party, it's going to be awkward, and he gives her that hideous, like, stuffed rabbit, and she, like, takes it, and she's like, oh my God, he's so ugly, I love him, and he's like, and I was like, oh, like, that was really cute. You know, she's a highlight in both of these movies. And again, it's great to see her bring that same energy here, but also just, like, really stretch herself with this kind of material. You know, she's not a supporting character like she was in those movies, and she is the lead. You know, she made me believe that being a little girl is the most stressful and anxiety-ridden existence one can have. I mean, damn, chap, being a little girl is hard as hell, and it can lead to so many awkward and stressful social situations, especially when other little girls, those little bastards, those other little girls are thrown into the mix. There are just, like, so many scenes with these little girls, also played by, you know, very talented actresses, that made Margaret nervous and in turn made me nervous. They're dumb, nonsensical rules about boys and bras and periods and religion and even socks, chat. Even socks was giving me anxiety every time they showed up, because it was just another problem that Margaret had to deal with and talk to God about. And she doesn't even know if she even believes in God or the God she's actually talking to. I was like, man, every time it showed up. And again, the actress does such a great job because she's placing these scenes and she's used to, you know, her friends in New York City. I mean, we literally see the start of the movie is her at summer camp. She's having a blast. She was having a great time. And then she moves to New Jersey, and the New Jersey suburbs, Chad, you got some weirdos in the New Jersey suburbs. I don't know what they're putting in the water in New Jersey, but it's messing with all the little girls over there, Chad. It's turning. It's like logic is. There's no place in the New Jersey suburbs for logic now. And Margaret is like the first one to kind of confront this and be confronted with it, and it's stressing her the hell out, and it stressed me the hell out. But again, all those scenes I think are very well put together, and she absolutely sells them. All the actresses sell those scenes so well, you know. And as I said before, I think the rest of the cast also does a great job. You know, Rachel McAdams gives a fantastic supporting performance as the mother of Margaret and the wife of Benny Safdie's character of Herb. You know, like Margaret, you know, she's also going through her own changes and journey in the movie. You know, in the beginning of the film, like her and her husband, you know, they both work full-time jobs, but he gets this huge job in New Jersey where he's going to get like a ton of money and to be able to support everything. They can buy a house. They don't have to live in an apartment anymore. And, you know, Rachel McAdams, she makes decisions like, oh, I guess I'll just be like a stay-at-home mom. And before she was like a painter, and she had a passion for art, and she taught art, taught painting. And she's like, well, you know, it's 1970s America, and I got to keep my ass at home. I have to be a suburban housewife, right? And, you know, she's going to PTA meetings, and she's trying to get involved in all these things to help her keep herself distracted and kind of away from her own passions, because she's like, well, I got to be this way now. And how that's all handled, I thought, well, yes, it's very amusing at first, and like she's nailing all those scenes and all the interactions like with her husband, which I want to touch on it in a bit. And, Kathy Bates and, of course, Margaret herself is all great. But then they throw some drama in there for the mother as well, for Rachel McAdams. Like, there's a whole subplot where she ends up reconnecting to her parents, her very overly religious Christian parents in the movie, and abusive, psychologically and emotionally abusive parents. And, they weren't too happy that she married a Jewish man. And she is kind of confronted by that, through her daughter, Margaret. And she has an amazing scene in this where, and again, it just starts like so naturally. And it's like any other, like, kind of like awkward, family split, which, a lot of us have dealt with that in our lives, or we've had a relative or one of our parents and they don't talk to this side of the family or that side of the family. We kind of, and as a young kid, we started asking questions. We started asking, like, why don't I see my other grandparents? Where are they? And she has a moment like that in the movie, and it just came out like so naturally. And the thing is, it's not like overdone. It's not like, oh, they abandoned me. It's nothing like that. It just builds in this one scene, and she's trying to also just kind of not upset her daughter, but in her struggle and her trying to be a little more reserved, she ends up like upsetting herself, and she starts crying. But it's not over the top. It's like supernatural. It's supernatural, and it's super cute and like really wholesome. She has like several scenes like that in this movie, and I really liked it, and she's just trying to be like the best mom possible because she's dealing with like all these changes at the same time. You completely buy her chemistry with Benny Safdie in this movie. It's like, oh yeah, these you can instantly feel the chemistry between the two of them. They have a lot of good. He's not in the movie a lot. I'll touch on him in a bit. He's not in the movie a lot, but when he is on screen, he was interacting with Rachel McAdams. They're quite lovely. And the other thing I got to say is, chat, Rachel McAdams, like, I forget, like, just how beautiful looking, attractive looking Rachel McAdams is, but holy shit, she looks hot as hell in this movie. And yes, and she's wearing those mom jeans, chat, and she's working those mom jeans. She's also, I think this might have been the part of the filmmaker. She looks distinctly different from many of the other moms in the movie. Because if you watch the film, so many of the moms, like, since we're kind of getting out of the 60s at this point, but like so many of the moms have like those kind of beehive hairdos, looking like, what's her name? Dee Dee Pickles from from Rugrats. Is like, what's going on with all these hairdos? Like, she has like this very like natural hair, just like, it's going down her back and across her shoulders and shit. And she's dealing with all these, suburban prissy moms that are just, they look like they're kind of made of plastic, and they have these huge hairdos that if you poke it, it feels like it would explode or fall off their head or kind of like crawl into the bed or something. It's just like, so I think just because like all the women looked a very particular way in this movie, and she just didn't, I was like, wow, you look fantastic. I mean, she always has, but I really just noticed that in this movie. And so, she's great. And she gets so many wonderful scenes in this film with multiple other actors, especially with Kathy Bates as Grandma Sylvia. And Kathy Bates is the mother of Benny Safdie's character of Herb, and of course the grandma of Margaret. And listen, I'm a huge Kathy Bates fan, as you guys know. Misery is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And usually when Kathy Bates shows up, she always adds, to the story and to the characters so much, the work so much. And she's a joy. Every time she's on screen, she's extremely close to her granddaughter, and is consistently a source of joy and advice. But she's also flawed too. She's definitely got, she's using her, how moms and grandmas love to guilt, their children, chat. She does that in this movie, and oftentimes it's quite humorous, but it also kind of stirs the pot and gets a lot of other characters in trouble. But she gets just so many fantastic lines of dialogue, and is cracking jokes every other scene that she's in. She's not always on screen. But when she is, you're just gonna fall. You're gonna fall in love with her character instantly. She's just like, yes. As soon as she pops in, she just brings so much to it, and it's a really good, really charming, supporting performance in the film. And then Benny Safdie, listen, Benny Safdie obviously is a great filmmaker and writer, but he's proving to be a very reliable and charming character actor. When he pops up. in multiple films, including in this one. You completely buy him as the husband of Rachel McAdams, and they get several scenes where they really showcase their chemistry. Both there's just like this great bit in the movie where, because Rachel McAdams, she doesn't know what to kind of do with herself now. She's like, I'm trying to be a suburban housewife, but I don't really dig it. And she's like, we got to get new furniture because I guess all the other moms are getting furniture. They always get, they get those catalogs. She's like, oh, and she ends up like getting rid of the furniture before she knows what she wants to buy. And you would think, so many other movies, this is pretty funny. Like the husband would come home. He's like, what'd you do? What'd you get rid of the couch for? I'm going to go shopping for the couch. Well, dude, you should have bought it. You should have bought something before you threw the old stuff out. And like with Benny Safdie's character, like he loves like to sit out on this like lawn chair outside because he's really proud of his lawn in the movie. And at one point, like he makes his little like TV dinner because also like Rachel McAdams is not a very good cook in the film. It's kind of like a running gag, but he ends up bringing in like the lawn furniture into the lawn chair into the living room. She's like, no, don't do that. I'm sorry. I just should have got a couch. She's like, what are you talking about? This is great. I love this lawn chair. And look what I can do. It almost felt like a little improvised because Rachel McAdams like started laughing and it sounded pretty natural. I thought it was really adorable. So like that interaction right there, you loved it. And he just telling her, it's not a big deal. It's okay. We're going to get furniture. Don't worry about it. I think it was funny. I was like, oh, it's really cute. But then they have these moments where, she tries to get in touch with her family again. They end up like responding to her via letter. And, he's really uncomfortable about that because, her family, you find out in the movie, not spoiling too much, but they fucking hate the fact that she married a Jewish man. And they said that you're going to go to hell for marrying a Jew. And it's just like, Jesus. And so he's like, one, he already feels bad for his wife that she was ostracized and they pretty much, threw her out. But he's like, they fucking hate me because I'm just Jewish, right? And he's not even a practicing Jew. He doesn't even believe anymore, which is also just like, well, But like they have a scene where they kind of like go back and forth and they're not like angry. It's just they're both like sad about this situation where they've really been able to, like, they struggled and they put their family together and they have a wonderful, bright, funny daughter, very smart daughter in Margaret. And then they have, of course, Grandma Sylvia and Kathy Bates and stuff. And you get the sense like, yeah, they really pulled themselves up and they initially struggled, but look what they were able to do and such great success. And then you could tell that, it's because that they truly loved each other, why they've been able to create this life. But then this thing pops in and it's like, you can tell it affects them still. It messes with them. I was like, damn, and it's sad, but I really liked it. It felt really real. And again, I think just overall, this is a great coming of age story with a really charming cast and countless numbers of heartwarming, emotional, earnestly emotional scenes, and also funny scenes. I think most people really enjoy this, but I think this is a really great movie, especially for mothers and daughters and grandmothers, to watch together too. Because they're going to be like, oh, yeah, remember this and remember that. Like, this is what happened with me and very similar. And I think that's what's made Judy Blume's work in this book in particular everlasting. Even though it's set in the 1970s, everything that happens in the movie is what happens to any woman, any little girl in their life, no matter what the decade is, no matter what the time period is. And I really enjoyed it. I think it's great, and it's a movie well worth watching if you haven't checked it out yet. It's on multiple platforms if you wish to see it. And really, again, like the huge shout out to the actress who plays Margaret, Abby Ryder Forston. Really want to see her pop up in more things because she's kind of been a standout in a lot of the stuff that she's appeared in, and she has to carry so much of this movie. And she sells like all the charm and all the cute moments, but of all the anxiety-ridden, anxious moments too. Again, Chet, just to wrap it up, being a little girl is stressful. I don't want to be a little girl, Chad. Be like, fuck that. That is too much work. Too much stuff on your mind constantly, Chad. All these other crazy little broads in New Jersey drinking all that weird tap water, making up rules at the top of their head when it comes to bras and periods and boys and socks. Why can't we wear socks, Chad? I got to ask the women. Why can't we wear socks? Why weren't you allowed to wear socks as a little girl? These are the questions I have. This is what the questions the movie proposes to us, to me, the viewer. But yeah, overall, really enjoyed the movie. Highly recommend. What about you guys out there? Have you guys read the original book? Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. And are you interested in seeing the film? Having seen the movie, did you like it as much as the book, or did you like it less? I'm very curious, very curious. Let me know.